Welcome back everyone. Today we are back again with yet another book. We have made up some lost time. The book, the famous Manufacturing Consent, took us some time to read. So, in last past two sequence of series of books that we read, we have managed to catch up because they were relatively shorter books. And this marks our 19th week. Am I right, Anup? If I'm not mistaken, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere
Sounds
around
almost right.
18th, 19th, and it's like one third of the year. So I was not very optimistic at the start of it, but just thought let's get along with this anyway. And we have made it all the way to one third of the year. How do you feel, Anup? How do you like it so far?
Oh, I like it really good. I actually I actually thought that we would maintain it until the end, man.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very good that you think that way. I'm a bit more skeptical about my abilities to keep routine, but I'm not going to
Mm.
lie to you. I really enjoy it, and I have actually figured out. I've actually received some response from some of my friends who also actually enjoy what we are doing here. So thank you for everybody who has kept up with us. We hope you would keep along, and I
Mm.
actually would encourage anybody who's listening to us to follow us along, read a book that we're reading next week, and yeah, you would be able to be better informed yourself. Before we go into the details of the book today, which is a very interesting read, I really enjoyed that. I just wanted to get your opinions on about reading in general, how you have found yourself changing over the year as we read
Mm.
more and more books. And as you know, we have followed a bit of a theme here. We were reading more fiction at the start, and we are now diving into non-fiction books.
Mm.
And yeah,
Mm.
what do you say? Maybe just give few words about this whole exercise that we are doing.
It's really awesome because last years I was thinking I should read more books, but I wouldn't find the time. But this year I kind of realized that if I really want to read a book, I will also find time to do it.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, every day 30 minutes is more than enough to finish like a book of 100 to 200 pages.
Hmm.
So yeah, like until now I'm like really happy of ourselves that we are keep keeping doing it. We also read like some books which were quite lengthy, right? Like
Yeah,
Manufacturing Consent, for example, was
yeah,
at least the edition that I read was 750 pages.
yeah.
So it was quite heavy, I felt. Yeah, it's super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for me as well, I'm quite happy. I would say that it's you who's really keeping me in track. Otherwise, I find myself really lazing around until the weekend is nearby and I just skim.
Mm.
I mean, I was just marathon through the whole book during the 2 days of the weekend. But for this last few books, I have really put in time during the weekdays as well. And I have to say, I mean, you can actually indeed make time to read the books. And I
Mm.
actually, I really had fun with the most recent read, and I hope we can keep this until this year, and hopefully we can make this a thing for more years to come.
Yeah.
So,
Like, we can also include the people listening to us, right? Like we had this one hidden rule, right? That
yeah,
if they read the book with us in that week, they can also come and join our
exactly.
discussions,
And
right?
we have already had a guest, Salina, who joined us when we read The Pearl, and we had a really great, engaging conversation then. So it's all
Mhm.
welcome for anybody else who is also reading with us, that they join us and then give their own insight into it, because I think it gives a bit more dynamics to what other people think and how their opinions are formed. Anup and
Mhm.
myself, I feel we are a bit more similar in a lot of aspects we think about, and having a third
Yeah,
voice always brings more color to what we are discussing.
definitely. I agree with that.
So, the book about for this week, The Secret Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, right? Or how is it named?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's the art of Swedish death cleaning, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
So
was it the secret? I don't know.
yeah, there was an adjectives there somewhere, but
Mhm.
uh, it was I would say a beautiful art of Swedish death cleaning.
Mhm.
I don't know what you
I
thought
didn't
about the
know.
book, but I thought at first it was about doing like deep cleaning and stuffs.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when I looked into Google and then just saw people really recommending this book, I thought, okay, what kind of book about deep cleaning are we going to talk about? But I was
Mm-hmm.
pleasantly surprised to read about the contents about it. Maybe Anup, you can do with our customary Anup summary.
Uh, yeah. Again, like I don't know, like how to summarize this book, but basically, it was. I think the audience was like older people, right? Like from 60 to 100, let's say, if you're lucky, and
Mm-hmm.
it was about why you should like clean your place
Mm-hmm.
before you die. I think that was the
Mm-hmm.
main message, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was really fun. So in the beginning, I was thinking that maybe it is a metaphor for something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
The death cleaning part, but it was actually what it meant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should clean before you die, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that your family won't have the problem, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was actually really nice. It had a lot of figures and lot of advices like
Mm-hmm.
what you should do, why you should do, what you
Mm-hmm.
should appreciate, and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you should throw away, like what she threw away and what she
Mm-hmm.
kept, right?
Mm-hmm.
And funny thing is, like I looked up her name, and
Mm-hmm.
she's still alive, by the way, right? She's
Oh, okay.
old, but yeah, yeah,
How old is he?
she's
Because
still.
she never says how old she is in the book. And
Okay, that's a really good question. I think 91 or some,
okay.
maybe a bit more than 91. So yeah.
Yeah, because a book mentions a bit about the war as well, so I thought somewhere around 1920s. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was quite good. I think you summarized it very well. She just goes through all different types of items, just groups through them, and then explain how she death cleaned, or at least cleaned, when
Mm-hmm.
her loved ones passed away. First her parents, then her in-laws,
Yeah.
and then her husband, and how she plans to clean them up once he's gone as well. Straightforward, not metaphorical, but I felt more like it was like a nuanced conversation from her point of view about how change occurs in life, right? Even so,
Mm-hmm.
she's cleaning up through all her stuffs, and then she just reminiscence her life and how it went by. And I thought it was a very poignant and poetic in some sense that how she presented stuffs in this book was really, uh, even though it was very direct, it came from experience and we could kind of feel what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were also, I thought, many times when she was reminiscing back about her life, you could feel like you were walking through her shoes, right? When
Mm-hmm.
she lived through Singapore or Japan, and when she was writing letters back home, and nowadays they are writing emails, and the tragedy of
Yeah.
having not having paper words, but
Mm.
the convenience that comes with email and everything. And uh, yeah, it was really enjoyable. Did you have
Mm.
any takeaway from this book?
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to be minimalistic, right? So
Mm,
I always want to do that, but a lot of stuff accumulate in my room, so it
mm,
gets messy. But there are also some days where I'm lazy. I come at
mm,
home, I put my bag somewhere else, I put
mm,
my clothes somewhere else,
mm,
my watch and something
mm,
somewhere else, right? So if I keep doing this for 2 3 days, the room, like I'm living in a dorm right now, right?
mm,
So it is a confined space, and
mm,
it actually gets messy like pretty fast, right?
mm,
Um, but this book actually managed to teach me that I should actually focus more on cleaning, right? So
mm.
last week I actually started like doing deep cleaning in my place as well, like even though it's
Really?
just a small room, right?
Mm,
So I collected a lot of clothes, like
mm,
it was a stack full of clothes that I donated today,
mm, mm,
and since 3 days, what I'm doing is also I come at my home, and
mm,
I try to fold my clothes, put that in shelf, which
mm,
what I actually wouldn't do before,
mm.
I would just like keep them around, and once in a week I would like fold
Yeah,
them and put them in my shelf. So I think it definitely gives some sort of message, that
yeah. For me, the biggest takeaway was when she wrote that it takes you only 5 seconds more to put the stuffs where you have ascertained them to be than to just throw
mm,
them randomly. And 2 days later, 1 week later, you would be searching it for half an hour. And I know, like my mom used to say that every time, but I never listened to it. But
mm,
now, when I have to, so I can't say, "Mom, where's my stuff? Please tell me," anymore,
yeah,
because I live away from home. Yeah,
mm,
I just can I see the virtue in whatever she was saying. So it was
mm,
quite nice. I also started sorting stuffs out, organizing them based on
mm, mm,
their use and so on. And I also these days try to put stuffs in a certain place so that I can find them later on. And
mm, mm,
I also
mm.
trying to keep the habit of, spending that 5 seconds more just to organize stuffs in day-to-day
Yeah,
basis.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
last few days I have been really trying to organize and clean my stuffs around.
Mm.
I wouldn't say I have gone as far as to deep clean my room as you have, but
Mm,
I'm trying to set up like an organizational scheme in my place and then be able to
mm,
just
mm.
organize stuffs around.
Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff, like suppose my files that I was
Mm-hmm.
collecting it since 2014, it
Mm-hmm.
seems, right? Like
Okay.
since 11 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
And then, out of curiosity, I just looked in the internet, how long you are obliged to keep those stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
for most of the things, it's 3 years,
Ah, okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So a document is older than 3 years, like unless it is your certificate or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, you are not obliged to keep them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like I had a really big bundle of those documents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Aman, like a friend of
Mm-hmm.
ours, like
Mm-hmm.
came to my place and we went and we were like shredding these documents,
Ah,
like
okay.
in that shredder, And like the funny thing is like that was the first time that I used the shredder, and
Okay.
I actually found it really relaxing,
Really?
like
Okay.
yeah, like shredding the document was really, I don't know, it really relaxed me.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that. In the
Mm,
topic of our mutual friend that you mentioned, he also lives very
mm,
minimalistically, right? He has
yeah.
everything to the bare minimum, and that is something
Mm,
I really like because I myself am a very big hoarder, right?
mm,
Not
mm,
necessarily because I'm attached to non-living stuffs. When I was
mm,
moving from home, when I was leaving my room, I got really emotional because I was leaving my room and I had so
mm,
many
mm,
memories in that room. And
yeah.
even like small things like gifts from people, I keep them, right? I have like gifts from as young as I was 10 years old, so
Mm,
I keep them. But yeah, this reading this book has kind of made me rethink about them. And
yeah.
the thing I liked about it is she does not, for example, judge you for keeping those stuffs, right? She just
Mm,
says that it
mm,
is kind of irresponsible for you to just leave them be around to be other people's problem because it's not the same value for other people's like it is for you as well.
mm, mm, mm. Definitely, like possessing stuff, so last time I told my brother-in-law that
Mm,
we were reading this book from Noam Chomsky, right?
mm,
Like
mm,
Manufacturing Consent, and Edward S. Herman, by the way.
mm,
So he was saying that there was a guy in Nepal who would give a whole workshop about Noam Chomsky,
mm,
right?
mm,
And then we came into the discussion, and then it seems like Chomsky used to argue that actually you don't need to possess the stuff,
mm,
what you need is using the stuff, but after
mm,
using it there is no meaning
mm,
of possessing the stuff,
mm,
that's what my brother-in-law told me about Chomsky, and I was
mm,
like fascinated, like
mm,
even then I was thinking like, yeah, actually he's right, like I mean
yeah,
books that we read, like instead of keeping them in our shelves, we can just like give them to other people, right?
yeah,
Like who
yeah,
can make more use out of it, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's for real.
Mm,
There's one topic I thought I would have a bit of a longer discussion with you is the topic of death comes up in this book quite a lot. And
yeah.
how did it make you feel about death while reading this book, or did you not think about it at all?
For me, I think before this book, like death was. I mean, it still is. I'm not saying like, okay, I'm not scared of death anymore.
Mm,
I still am like really, really scared of death.
mm,
But now what I think is like, okay, just having. the fear of death, doesn't help you. You also
mm,
need to kind of think about your relatives, before you
mm,
die, like
mm, mm,
what you should do for them, what you should do yourself. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mm,
So
mm,
up until now, it was something like, okay, death comes, I die. Okay, I'm scared of that. But
mm,
now I
mm,
think like no, it is much more than that. Like there are a
mm,
lot of things. So then I also started thinking about in Germany, like
mm,
people go and take a look at the sarg they
mm,
want to be kept in,
mm,
after they die,
mm,
right?
mm.
Like what sarg is like. It's
It's
like this
the
casket,
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
right? They shop for the casket,
mm, mm,
and for me that was like really crazy, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I can imagine.
mm. But now I think I get it, like why
Mm,
you do that, right?
mm, mm. Yeah. For me as well,
What's with you?
it's the same thing. I'm really frightened about that, right? The thought
Mm,
that I will not be able to be conscious tomorrow is something very difficult for me to deal with. But
mm, mm,
reading this book is kind of makes you really aware that yeah, this is around you everywhere. It's inevitable, right? So you
mm,
should not
mm,
really fear it because you have to die someday. And just reading about this and her uh, optimistic vision towards death. I would not even say optimistic, a realistic vision towards death and her
mm,
responsibility towards death. That she was not willing to dismiss death as it is, but rather as a profound moment in human lifetime. Where I would probably we can say it's the most important moment in human's lifetime, and
mm,
how
mm,
she envisions it was really uh, I would say it has kind of calmed me down about the whole existential dread that I have.
mm, mm,
I
mm,
found that the way she communicates about death, about her friends leaving, about her being the oldest member of her family alive, and
mm,
how she has to deal about younger people that has come after
mm,
her and what you have to give to them and everything like that. Everything's of sorts, and she's not
mm.
uh, tragic about the fact of death. And in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sense, it made me feel like, indeed, I don't have to feel tragic about death because it's
Mm,
all about living a very fulfilling life. And it was a very, very optimistic take to death. And yeah, it was an amazing read. Uh,
yeah,
it's just
definitely.
I just want to thank the random redditor who recommended this book in one of those Reddit files that I saw.
Mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
Maybe on I think you can give us a verdict from your side, and I will add on that about this book. How do you recommend this to anyone? Yeah.
Mm. Definitely. And to people, but then again, I don't know, man. Like I felt this book was rather like targeted for like people nearing
Mm,
the age of 70 to 100.
mm,
It felt weird and different. I'm being honest with you, right?
mm,
So in some occasion, I felt like, maybe I'm not the target audience of this book,
mm, mm,
because I had like really, really mixed feeling as you tell me, like
mm,
as you told, like you are scared of death, right? Like
mm,
like it's also like I'm also scared of death, and
mm,
I think for me personally, like this book was not for this age. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mm, mm, mm,
So I was happy. It was like really nice reading it, but still
mm,
like the term of death, it always occurred. You know what I mean?
mm,
And I think subconsciously, I am right now not ready to deal with
mm,
this
mm,
this stuff. You know what I mean?
mm, mm. Yeah. Maybe along the year, I might recommend a book called Denial of Death. Right?
Mm.
It's a
Oh, nice.
It's a book about a biopsychologist who's trying to interpret death and
Mm.
how people fear it and so on. And maybe it would be a good read as well. Personally, I actually like this book. I thought I was
Mm.
the right group to read this book, not least
Okay.
because it is about life and it is about old people trying to give away things after the death,
Mm. Mm.
but also
Mm.
because in a strange way there was a lot of messes about
Mm.
living a
Mm.
fulfilling life. And I really got an
Mm.
impression of her that when you're doing the fact that it means you are doing death cleaning means that you have
mm,
collected stuffs throughout your lives. You would not need to do
mm,
death clean if you were not collecting stuffs throughout your life. And
mm,
uh, the fact that you're collecting stuff means you're living a fulfilling life. You are acting on your interests, you're acting on your ideas, you're trying to make a life out of you're creating interest for yourself, you're producing stuff, you're also collecting stuff. And that part I found really nice. And I
mm,
can understand that the topics might be, at least the text might itself be more about the specifics of how you deal with different kinds of articles that you come across while cleaning, right?
mm,
But
mm,
the
mm,
underlying message is that the underlying message is that you have to collect that article throughout your life so that you can clean them along the way. That
mm,
whatever you're collecting now is also not necessarily permanent, and you have to keep cleaning the stuffs, and you have to keep collecting those new stuffs. Do you get what I'm trying to say? More like
mm,
you you don't hold on to your memories from your past, and you keep making new memories, and then you keep letting them go. So it's kind of like where you live a life like a boat. There's a saying in
mm,
Nepali which says, be like a boat. It means that you
mm,
keep moving. When you keep moving, you will keep leaving your mark in the waves, but they will disappear once somewhere. They might cause a ripple
mm.
somewhere, but they will disappear somewhere. But you will keep
Oh,
moving. And
that's a nice phrase.
yeah, so that is something I thought this book left as a message. We're
Mm,
doing
mm.
a bit shorter today. I don't know if you want to add something.
No, no,
On
I'm done, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, me as well, because this the topic was. I think you have to read the book to actually experience it. It's basically just a catalog of how to clean stuffs, but there's a
Mm,
lot of underlying experience from a very, I would say, I would imagine a kind lady after reading the book, and
mhm,
somebody who has lived their life in different scenario and have learned the value of trying to make difference, sorry, beyond the value of letting things go and not necessarily being im- beholden to the articles that you collect. So yeah, I would recommend everybody to read it, and maybe our listeners. I really strongly recommend, because it's just 100 pages long, not that
mm,
difficult, but
mm,
also comes with a lot of different. I think you can take away a lot more than basic just clean up tips. And maybe
mm,
it will
mm.
also motivate you to clean up your room like how we did. So it's a win-win for everyone. Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to clean my other stuffs as well. So yeah, but nevertheless, thank you very much. Ah, we almost forgot about the book for the next week. So the next week
Yep.
is Anup's recommendation. What do we have here?
It's called Deep Work: Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World by Cal Newport.
Okay, yeah, so for next week we're going a bit more self-help, I guess.
Yep.
Carl Newport, doing deep work. So anybody else interested to just read the book, and then if you want to join, then just text us, and then yeah, we will reach out and we can set up a. You can join this conversation as well. So thank you very much, everyone. Next week we will come with Carl Newport and deep read, and thank you very much for joining us.
But
Bye.